It is one of the most unbelievable stories we have ever covered here on the Pro Channel. As soon as a little bit of funding was cut from the federal government for public radio and TV, it turns out that PBS and NPR, the people who run them, said, screw this, we're out, we're done, it's over. And they burned the whole thing to the ground. Today, we'll tell you what's going down and why they took their toys and, well, said, curtains, bye-bye, no more, see you later. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the channel where we are never haters. No, we are uplifting, we enrich with every single video in which you decide to click. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest, craziest stories you have ever heard. The folks behind NPR and PBS, they got less money from the feds and they said, we're done. We're just, that's it. No more. Folks, there's something more behind this. There's corruption like you can't believe. We believe, and we'll show it to you. Click the like button, drop a comment down below, and let's go, folks. It's time for an expose into what's been taking your tax dollars away for a long, long time. It is a big day in media history. The CBP, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, is shutting down after 58 years. And Variety, we're going to work on your grammar. Because due to Donald Trump eliminating its funding. Yes, that's right, folks. It's shutting down because due to Donald Trump. Pick one. Let's go. Variety, here's the article by Michael Schneider. Corporation for Public Broadcasting to shut down after 58 years due to Trump eliminating funding. What an unpleasant picture. Continuing. Less than a year after the Trump administration and Congress voted to defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the entity, which helped fund the operations of local public TV and radio stations, has voted to shut it down. The CPB announced Monday that its board of directors would voted to close the organization after 58 years rather than continue to exist and potentially be, quote, vulnerable to future political manipulation or misuse, unquote. Now, do you know what this means, ladies and gentlemen? This doesn't mean that the orange man shut them down. This means there's a bunch of wokies realized that the money was not going to be there like they thought it was going to be from the federal government. And do you remember how they always would tell you, well, actually, the majority of our money does not even come in from public funding. They lost the funding and the board immediately shut the whole thing down, closed it up like a Leering Center in Minnesota, and said, the reason we're doing this is so that we're not susceptible to future political manipulation. Corruption, I can see you. The CPB was created by Congress by the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967 to support the federal government's investment in public broadcasting. The organization noted that the rescission of all of CPB's federal funding came after years of political attacks. Yes, because your public money that was being paid by the taxpayers was being used for hyper-partisan nonsense. For more than half a century, this is their quote, CPB existed to ensure that all Americans, regardless of geography, income, or background, had access to trusted news. It wasn't trusted. Educational programming and local storytelling, said CPB President CEO Patricia Harrison. When the administration and Congress rescinded federal funding, our board faced a profound responsibility. CPB's final act would be to protect the integrity of the public media system and the democratic values by dissolving, rather than allowing the organization to remain defunded and vulnerable to additional attacks. Wait a minute. I thought they were funded in part. That's been what they've said for decades. This program is funded in part by viewers like you. What in the world? You know what this is? They said, oh, so we're not going to get the Fed money anymore? Okay, fine, we'll burn it down. That's what they literally did. They burned it to the ground. Culture, you're not surprised by this, and you despise, I believe, the public broadcasting systems, PBS and NPR. Culture, your thoughts on the on this shenanigan, I'll say, where they weren't made to go away. The orange man didn't destroy them. The Congress just took away the funding that was supposedly not the biggest thing, and they said, oh, well, in that case, burn it to the ground.
I'm unsurprised, but not for the same reason that you are unsurprised. I'm unsurprised because this was always the case. The private money that came in via donations or, other businesses, things like that supported public broadcasting was nothing more than maybe marketing efforts on their part, or perhaps USAID money that was being essentially passed through for some tax benefits to any of these corporations that decided to participate in this. Not to mention the fact that most of the public broadcasting studios and stations were run via universities that were, again, just aiding in the indoctrination across the board. So when you take a look at broadcast locations, the people who participated, and everything else that was involved in it, it was just the perpetuation of one political mindset, and above all else, there was nothing else there. So I'm not surprised. Also, again, it also would have created an opportunity for, again, the current administration to have targets set and understand who all these entities were that were passing money over to a propaganda industry that could be seen as political donations and not legal ones at that.
And here's the thing. We are at the dawn of the AI era.
Yeah.
It was going to be cheaper than ever before to make content for PBS and NPR. Here's another quote, folks, that you just, this is so important to see, to understand the level of corruption. This is right there with the Leering centers, the daycares, the pain management companies of Minnesota. This is right there with it, okay? Just read along with me. The CPB said that without funding, its board determined that, quote, maintaining the corporation as a non-functional entity would not serve the public interest or advance the goals of public media. A dormant and defunded CPB could have become vulnerable to future political manipulation or misuse, threatening the independence of public media and the trust audiences place in it, and potentially subjecting staff and board members to legal exposure from bad faith actors, unquote. Wait a minute here. Is this them fully admitting that without the federal funding that they said was a minority of their money, they couldn't go out to anybody? Nobody was willing to give them donations? Hollywood, where are you? Hey, actors, celebrities, you all said we had to have this. Nobody would open up their pockets and save this thing? But instead, they had to protect themselves from bad faith actors by burning the thing to the ground once the 10% or whatever it was from the federal government was gone out the door.
Yeah, well, because the other 90% was coming from Vanguard and BlackRock and all the other bad actors. I'm just saying.
Might have been coming from other countries.
It would lead to other investigations. Again, the public money was all a cover. It always had been. And look, ever since the acknowledgement of why certain programming was on TV, and the major admonishment was, well, this is TV for smart people. If you've ever watched public broadcasting, you were like, this is not for smart people.
It's the kind of content that makes a fifth grader slam their head on the desk and say, why? Why are we playing this again? Yeah. Lauren, the argument for its existence had always been from the federal government that it needed, we needed to provide a way for anybody and everybody to have media in their homes, even if they're in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, or they're sitting, in eastern Montana, wherever they might be, and there's nobody there, and somebody needs to be on the air. With Starlink and some of these other satellite internet options, there is no reason for that to still be part of the debate. And that's why this had to go away. I'm just shocked that as soon as the federal government pulled whatever percentage of funding, they were like, and we're done. We're done. We're completely done. Screw all the arguments we made for the past decades. We're out.
Well, I think the funniest part of the statement to me was where they said that to prevent future misuse or weaponization. It's like, okay, what changes really here? With the funding being pulled, how is it that, do you think that you're going to have to accept funding from your enemies and they're going to force a change in content? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah, Lauren, it's kind of like, it's this alien language, right? They don't actually specify anything. It's all so nebulous. They could have come out and said, in order to stop the narwhals from gaining access to the scrupuzzles, we're definitely going to have to destroy ourselves right now. It's like, I don't know what narwhals and scrupuzzles are. Explain this, please. Who are these nefarious actors out there?
This is them confessing, though, in a roundabout way, is that in their minds, they think that what's going to happen is if they lose public funding, that their enemies are going to want to capture their broadcast medium for ideological purposes and weaponize it, which means that's what they're doing.
I love it. I just love it. Marvin, they could not exist in the world that you exist in. You're the editor-in-chief of thatparkplace.com. You've been referenced and cited by the federal government in your investigations into Disney. You're the managing editor of geeksandgamers.com. They can't compete without the feds giving them all that precious, precious money to propagandize. They can't compete with real media.
I mean, it was basically our answer to the BBC, right? You're propped up by the government, except BBC is actually obviously a lot larger. Fed by the government, doesn't matter how much money it loses, the government will just keep funneling money in. They can just keep doing whatever they want. Well, that's not the case anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're kind of saying out with the old. I mean, PBS stopped being relevant when it stopped having things like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and things like that on it. So I mean, I haven't seen hide nor hair of PBS in years and years and years. Not since WB bought Sesame from them, or the broadcast rights to Sesame from them. Though it was still airing on PBS for a while. So yeah, it's just an outdated model, I think. And if they could not get by without government funding, then it shouldn't have existed in the first place.
Ron, you're going to miss it. I'm going to miss the reruns of Reading Rainbow at 3 a.m. I'll tell you.
Oh man,
take a look.
It's in a book.
That really takes me back.
It's Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
I was thinking of No Gnu's is Gary. No Gnu's is good Gnu's with Gary Gnu. Oh my gosh. No, I mean it like Marvin said, it's an outdated model. It doesn't work anymore. And
it was great when there were 3 channels in 90% of the country, Ron.
I don't know any kids that are not watching YouTube, like pretty much for like literally 100% of their content. I mean, if not, maybe 95% of the content. Kids and parents put it on. They're like, okay, because as a parent, you can cultivate what your kids watch. You can say, okay, I really don't want them watching this. I do want them watching this, and making sure that your kids are watching just what they're supposed to, especially little ones. But yeah, the it was me this whole time though. The one thing that I've been thinking of is this. Does that mean that we're not going to see any more holiday segments of Schwetty and his and his festive food that he comes up with?
I'll miss that and the muffins too.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's where we'll leave it, folks. There was a time when public broadcasting had a place, and that's true. Now, I think it came late to the game in the 70s, but, back in the 50s, you could have used something like that. In the 70s, it was still going. It was still true in the 80s and partially into the 90s. I can justify, I think, in my mind, having the government come in to very poor places of the country and say, you know what, you got 2 channels, you got 3 channels. We're going to put up an antenna, and we're going to broadcast some stuff that's educational and that's really edifying to culture, and not you culture, the culture. Yeah, I know. But by the time the internet came along, and especially now where everywhere in the world you can have Starlink for exceedingly little money invested into that compared to what you paid in the past, there's no reason for it to exist. And as soon as they had any of the money pulled, that was the point where they said, well, screw you guys. We'll take our toys and go home because if we can't propagandize, then we're just going to die. That's the hill we'll die on. And it is time to put a bow on it, for this one, folks, is a gift to everybody who wants to know exactly what's going on in the entertainment industry. And we are so joyful that you were there to receive it. We hope that you had a great time. An attitude of gratitude on this channel every single time you decide to spend time with us. As we get ready to say goodbye, we only ask a few simple things. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. And folks, as you get ready to head out that door, do you have a place on social media that you love to share this sort of thing? Hey, you can make this YouTube video sing by putting it out there for your friends, your family, and for those weirdos who just won't leave you alone. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.